Excellent.
Well, my name's Chris.
And I'm David.
And this is the sound of hugs.
Aw, they sound so good.
Very busy weekend this weekend.
Yeah, lots going on.
Apparently a great weekend for people to open up breweries in the past several years.
Yeah, and in the years past. That's true. Yeah, lots of anniversaries of breweries in this area, as well as Dark Lords.
All the Dark Lords on their day.
Yeah, they had their day. Apparently it coincides with Mother's as well. I mean, it wasn't Mother's Day this last weekend, but
close enough.
But usually it's right around there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I haven't been to Dark Lord Day in 10 years.
And I've heard, and I've actually never been. I've never been to a Dark Lord Day. I've reaped the benefits. So I have had people bring me back bags of Dark Lords. And you have done that for me before, so thank you for that. So I've been able to enjoy the soy sauce, but I've never been to one. But I have heard many stories of Dark Lord days past, and some have been frightening. So, which is part of kind of at this point, sort of why I feel like maybe I don't need to go now. I don't know. I feel like the past ones sound like they were an experience. You know what? I used to live in a house with 7 roommates in college.
That sounds like an experience.
It was absolutely insane. It was one of those situations where there were 8 of us. If everybody has a couple friends over, you've got like 24 people in the house, right? And before you know it, you've got a party. Like there's that many, it's absolute chaos. And am I glad that I experienced that in my life? Yes. Would I ever do it again? No way. No way would I ever live in that environment again. I'm just past it, right? It's a little bit how I feel about Dark Lord Day. Like, I feel like I kind of missed the window, and now I'm not sure I ever want to go and do that.
Yeah.
In my life. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like the moment that I wanted to do it already went by, and now I kind of don't want to do it. It's like festival concerts for me. Kind of the same. Like, do I want to watch a 12-hour concert in the blazing heat? Not really. I'd rather go see a band I really love for an hour and a half or 2 hours than go see a bunch of bands I kind of care about for 12.
Could be a symptom of getting older.
Maybe. Yeah, that's fair. Or just being more logical and responsible with my time and energy. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, and I honestly, Dark Lord has changed so much in the years. I think the first year that I went was maybe 2012. I had been a couple of other times after 2012. 2011 might have been the year that I went first. But, it was usually a shit show trying to get tickets. And it changed drastically over the course of the years leading up to about 2020. And then a thing happened.
What could it have been? Let's see.
I had gone to what Woods considered Dark Lord Day at that point in time, which was essentially just driving down. You drive through the parking lot. I did it twice. You drive through the parking lot, you get your bottles of stuff, and then you leave. But the last actual Dark Lord that I went to was 2015, and it was miserable. And it wasn't because of anything Floyd's did. But, back in the day, there was a lot of shares that happened in the parking lots or just even around the grounds. You didn't even have to be necessarily in the festival to partake in a lot of this stuff, which was really, really cool. And the streets were lined with bottles just back to back to back of all the dead soldiers that were being opened. Some of the most epic beers I've ever had were at a Dark Lord.
I've heard that before too. Some people say that the best beer I ever had was at a Dark Lord because somebody brought it.
Because there's a lot of stuff that you don't really expect to ever see.
Like the Utopias and the stuff like that.
I had Side Project Origin there.
There you go.
And it was incredible. I never thought I'd be able to try that.
Right.
So a lot of that stuff had changed. I don't know if they've brought it back, but they weren't allowing outside of the grounds sharing and hangouts like they used to. A lot of the people that are going to Dark Lord for the first time this year have never experienced it before. And it was, from what I can see, it was probably hearkening back to the older days. But even then, you had scratch off tickets to see if you can get a variant. Now I think you have a variant that's actually included with your bottles.
Right.
But I think instead of getting 4 bottles, you can only get like 1 or 2 bottles of the regular. So things are drastically different now.
It makes sense, though, that it would evolve.
Well, I would think evolution for sure.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest things about the craft beer community and the culture is bottle shares and like being able to share stuff with your friends. So being able to sit and kind of set up camp outside of the grounds and just have people that are coming up before you want to go in. You know, there was still like a community and the craft beer culture was very much still alive, even if you weren't a ticket holding participant.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of a big thing that if they haven't brought it back, they definitely should have. Mm-hmm. Granted, it's been a decade since I've been to any of these, but the last time I went, 2015, it was rainy. It was cold. There were like pallets all over the place because it had been raining for 24 hours. There were telescoping lights. There were like chain link fences everywhere. There were lines of people like just looking miserable. Like I've never been to a concentration camp, but that was my guess.
Well, I think people that were at concentration camps would probably be happy to be at Dark Lord Day.
Oh, most likely, for sure.
Yeah, no, but actually, you mentioned something there that I thought was a little interesting, which is the concept of bottle shares, which is obviously key to GBM. Mm-hmm. It's a big part of what we do, right? But I also wonder, do people do bottle shares as much as they should or as much as maybe they have in the past? And I still see a fair amount of them on Instagram and stuff like that. Some of the people obviously that I follow or that I'm friends with do them. But I've noticed that even with Bourbon County and, some of these other bigger releases like Dark Lord, a lot of people grab their bottles and bolt. Mm-hmm. And then they're really about selling them or bragging about them. Look what I got, right? Or they go right into the cellar, or people aren't really about like sharing their beers. It's almost like they're trophy beers.
Yeah.
Right. And, it's something we kind of joke about it sometimes too. I mean, I'm as guilty as anybody, right? I've got some really nice bottles in my cellar. And, I joke about, especially with whiskey, like I joke about it. I could sell this. And then what happens is I buy it and I've never once sold a bottle. And what I always do is I'll buy it and I'll tell myself I could sell this if I wanted to. And then I never do. And I always open it and I always drink it because I'm always just like, and I love opening the bottles, especially with people who I know will appreciate it, and that's really exciting. Like that's half the fun, of doing it. But I think a lot of people like get off on the just having it, and they don't really want to share it. They just want to like have it or whatever, and so I don't know. In some ways, I feel like that has sort of permeated some of these events, and it kind of is sad, really. Mm-hmm. It's like, people like they get it, and then like the next day, it's all you see all over, especially like Facebook or whatever. People trying to sell the bottles, people trying to get rid of them, and they're overpriced, and $300 for this and $400 for that. And it's just kind of sad, honestly. You want to see people opening them and sharing them in that community that you talked about.
That's what it's all about.
That should be what it's all about. Honestly, actually, that's what the beer's all about, really.
Well, beer, bourbon, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And when you were saying, like, I don't know if people actually do bottle shares anymore. We were doing a GBM a couple weeks ago, and Greg Cook reached out to me and was asking me a question about something. And I'm like, I haven't checked it out yet or whatever he was asking me, as I'm currently doing my Monday night bottle share. And he's like, wow, bottle share. People still do those?
People still do that?
It's a fair question.
Yeah, right.
I do have an interesting story for one of the last Dark Lords that I went to. Is there was once everyone started to be able to get a variant, there's a lot more theft happening. There was a story of one of the guys that was actually, and I'm pretty sure I've told you this before, one of the guys actually got his bottles, took his bottles into the porta potty with him because he didn't want his shit stolen.
Yeah.
And he ended up actually dropping one of his bottles into the porta potty.
Okay.
Now, my question to most people is, would you go in after it?
Yeah.
Now, he did. And I don't fault him for this. But he ended up getting it, washed it off. And then I think later in the day, he ended up getting his stuff stolen anyway.
Oh, man.
But like he said, like, joke's on them. They don't know which one's the shit bottle.
Right.
So,
I mean, at least it's sealed.
Right. And waxed.
And waxed, so you can close it out, wash it off real good and stuff like that. But I think we did talk about that before, and I feel like where we landed was, if I can see it, I'll grab it. But if it's covered, I'm not going after it.
Oh, if it's sunk, we're done.
Yeah, I'm not digging for it.
That would be fishing in the wrong pond.
Like if I can reach down and grab it, then that's a maybe. Even then, I'm not sure I would. I'm not sure. It'd be a total judgment call in the moment, but definitely if I can't see it, I'm not going for it. It's gone. It's just gone. Sorry. Yeah. It's a memory now. It's a story I'm going to tell other people someday. Wow. Yeah.
Like my favorite year for Dark Lord was actually 2008. No, 2008 Dark Lord, which was actually the year of the hop shortage, which is why that was a great year for stouts all around. Dark Lord didn't have as much hops that was pretty much going to go into the beer, so it was a little bit more chocolate forward. It was a little bit more
sounds great,
robust. It was excellent, but that was definitely my favorite year, and I've noticed that I prefer those bottles with some time on it because I don't necessarily get soy sauce out of it like a lot of other people do, or at least they say that they do. Mm-hmm. It's like the running joke at this point.
Right. That's why I said it. We've heard that one before.
Yeah. It's kind of one of those situations where I now have cellared beer long enough and tried beer over the course of the years to know that I actually prefer this with 5 to 6 years on it. Mm-hmm. Whereas a lot of the times, you get a beer and it's, within the first couple of years, again, if you get a beer and you don't know what it tastes like, there's no reason to cellar it. Just drink it.
Try it fresh. So, yeah.
Now knowing this is kind of one of those beers that where you put it out, you can put some time on it. And when you drink it fresh, it's a little green. It's a little weird. Now the barrel aged versions always have enough stuff in it that it tastes pretty good. But yeah, Dark Lord is definitely one of those that it was kind of a really big OG beer back in the day. People went apeshit for it. I think the first Dark Lord day that they ever had, they only had 600 bottles or something. Don't quote me on that. I don't know for sure. But they had a small amount of people that showed up, and they had a small limited run for it, and then it just kind of grew into this big thing. But I would also say that was back in craft beer's heyday, back in 2011, 2012, 2013, all those years. People were trading heavily for them.
I say it might have even been earlier than that.
Well, craft beer's heyday?
Oh, yeah. I see, because the first Dark Lords I had were 10, 11 in there.
Well, like I said, my favorite one is 2008.
Yeah.
So I think it might have been 2004 or 2005 that they first did
Floyd's was they couldn't do anything wrong back then.
Oh, no. Juggernaut.
Yeah, I was say 2009 was Baller Stout, right? Wasn't that in there?
It's either, I think it might have been 2010.
Okay.
2009, 2010.
But I feel right in there, they were, they couldn't do anything wrong. Mm-hmm. They could release absolute garbage and everybody go nuts for it.
People were, I'm going to open up another can of happiness here.
Yep.
Yeah, so much has changed since then.
Right.
Now that Dark Lord's happened and I haven't technically been since the festival started up again. And it's I'm not, again, no knock to Floyd's or anything.
Of course not. Yeah. Just things move around.
I'm not necessarily itching to go. Now, if someone said, hey, man, I got a ticket to Dark Lord. Do you want to go? I'd be like, sure. Yeah. I'll think about it.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. I'll go to www.darklord.geocities.com. Check it out.
Oh, that's funny.
One of the things that you really experience a lot of at Dark Lord, other than intoxicated crazy people, is a lot of people dropping bottles. I remember I was getting my bottles and this kid that I knew walked up and he was well into his drunkenness and he talked to me. I'm not really even sure what he said. And then he continued on and I turned and all of a sudden I heard just a bunch of breakage and all 4 bottles were just on the ground. Now there's been several times too that people have actually dropped their bottles and it pretty much goes into like a hole of some sort or like a dip in the concrete, so it creates a pool. And I've seen people get down and actually like drink it out of that pool.
My God.
But then again, people are not thinking straight.
Yeah.
It's not great though.
No. Well, plus there's could be glass and stuff in there too. Who knows? But
glass, blood, semen. Who knows what's happening?
Whoa. That gets real. Yeah. I was at a sort of tangentially related, I guess. Back when KBS was a day and you had to go get KBS, we would go to Grand Rapids or whatever. And I remember sitting outside and, we got our bottles or whatever. And we're sitting outside. And I guess I don't remember exactly when that was, what time of year it was. It was cold though. When did KBS come out? Do you remember? What time of year it was?
Usually came out around March or like late March at the brewery.
It was cold out.
Yeah, and then they would release it through like to the public around April. Sometime.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, I remember we used to go up there and it was still cold because we were up in Michigan. And so we'd be sitting outside and they'd have those cool fire pits and stuff, whatever. And you'd see these people that would get all their allotment or whatever. And then they come down the stairs and just boom. And you just hear all the bottles break, Mm-hmm. And it was just like the whole place would be like, oh, like everybody would hear it all at once, and we'd all be sitting there having our beers and we'd all feel that pain of the bottles that just broke, that's brutal. That's brutal stuff, man.
I only went to a KBS release once.
Okay.
And
yeah, I remember the weekend you were there because I was there too, but you were there the night before me.
I think you were there the night before I was.
Ah, okay. I remember we missed each other by one night.
Yep.
That, we were both in Grand Rapids that same weekend.
So I thought it was hilarious because I think it was the second day or whatever it was that I went and picked up my stuff because at that time, all the chaos had already happened. And I thought it was funny and I wish I would have taken a picture. But I remember walking up to the covered little tent that you enter into the brewery.
Yeah.
And it was like normal. And it was
like on the side there.
But then when you walked out on the other side of the other tent, there's just broken glass and shit everywhere. And it's like, you could just tell something happened.
Yeah. Yep.
But man, that's got to be tough to like be skipping out of there being like, oh, I got this like an ice cream cone and then it fucking drops. And you're like,
that's exactly what it was too.
My sadness is now here.
Yep. You got to remember to hold that bag from the bottom.
Even the cardboard carriers, you have to remember.
Well, and you have to, and especially, because if you're like us, I mean, here in Chicago or whatever, I mean, we drove, you drove 5 hours to get there. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's not a short drive to get over there to get that beer and then just to drop it on the ground. You're like, well, that was a colossal waste of time.
Absolutely. Oh man,
that's brutal.
Like when I told you when we went to Pig Mines this weekend, they had a barrel aged imperial stout that had like maple syrup and vanilla and chocolate and stuff. It sounded gross. So Buffet bought a bottle and he forgot it in his truck and he forgot that it was in his truck.
Oh.
So when he opened up the car door, it fell out.
Yep. Boom.
His garage floor got to experience that one.
Yeah.
So that's, it happens.
It does happen.
It happens to the best of us, too.
I've dropped a bottle before. It happens. Yeah. Yeah. I did it in my cellar, in my basement, and it was Bourbon County. And you could smell that for a while. I mean, I cleaned it up, obviously, because you can't just leave something like that. That's going to get sticky. But
it gets really sticky.
But yeah, you could smell it for a little bit. Yeah.
Interestingly enough, too, we just made that post about the brewery.
Yeah.
And being.
By the way, if you haven't checked it out, go check out our Instagrams. And there's a post up there. You can let us know what your favorite brewery beer is.
Chime in.
I told you what mine was. So go check it out. But anyway.
There was that year that Black Tuesday bottle exploded in my cellar.
Yeah.
I remember walking downstairs and thinking, wow, it smells like I brewed a beer down here. And then I'm like, I haven't brewed in like 3 months. What happened? And so then I realized like, oh shit, something broke. And then when I walked over to my cellar, there was like this puddle. I'm like, oh shit. So props to the brewery though. They, comped us for that, even though it was, I don't even remember what year it was.
Yeah.
But, that beer is hearty enough and there shouldn't be anything about it that the bottle should just blow up.
Right.
And the label was the only thing that was holding it together, which was wild.
That is wild. Yep. Anyway. So you mentioned Pig Minds. So they had an anniversary this last weekend.
Yep. So Pig Minds had 13th anniversary. Art History, I believe, had, I don't remember what year they had. And then So Hopped had their 6-year anniversary this year. And so Pig Minds is out in McChesney Park out by Rockford, Illinois. Anyone who is in the area that could possibly stop by, definitely recommend it.
Yeah, they have a really cool setup there, and the food's great.
Food is great. It's all plant-based, but don't let that deter you. It's really, really good.
Yeah, the food was fantastic when I went there. I really liked it.
I think that, the whole vibe, they've got a really good patio, and the beers, great beers.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It was fun. It was like an entire day / weekend worth of stuff. It was wonderful, and the weather was nice, but it was a little breezy. But they had some music. They had like a special menu. Went out and met Timmy and hung out with Buffet for a little bit. Spent as much time outside as possible, which is really good. So, yeah, no complaints there.
Nice.
I'd also gone to the So Hopped bash on Friday, and again sat outside as much as possible.
So Hopped is a cool place too.
It is.
We're lucky where we're at because So Hopped is a great place, and we've got more right next to us too. More Brewing has a location here, right near Chris and I, which we enjoy. So we're lucky to have some good beer right near us. So, but yeah, So Hopped is got a nice vibe, and they have some real solid beer too. So yeah, that was good. So how was their event?
They actually did stuff all weekend long. I was only there for that Friday, which was really it was a good time. Smashed burgers, solid. They also had a band. I don't remember what the name of the band was, but they've got a huge patio, and they also take over part of their parking lot most times for the stage. And it's just a really good hang. They did release a new lager called the Sentinel Lager, and it's like just super American.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's an eagle and like the American flag and like just a whole bunch of graphic and stuff on the front of it. Total American.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, it's really good. I think it's like 4.5, 4.2%.
Well, we do have Memorial Day coming up like this weekend.
It is this weekend.
And then, July 4th isn't too far away. It's about 5 or 6 weeks away.
Oh, it could take its time though.
Yeah, that's true. That's about halfway through the summer.
No, once you hit 4th of July, it's like a downhill.
Yeah.
Just slide out.
This coming weekend is the Indy 500. That's Memorial Day weekend. That's when they run that race. So this is definitely a good time to be drinking some America beer. If you're going to do it, this is the time.
America.
This is kind of the beginning of summer. Memorial Day is kind of the beginning of summer.
I would say that it is kind of like the quintessential kickoff to summer.
It doesn't feel like it right now outside because it's kind of like misty and cold today.
Oh, it's shitty.
Yeah, it sucks. This is definitely not a summery kind of day today, but I'm pumped for summer. Like I'm ready for some warm weather. We've had a little bit, just enough to tease us now. Yeah, we had some mid to high 80s like a couple of days now, and it's been amazing. But we're back to kind of like almost 60 and raining, which is like not pleasant.
We're going in the wrong direction.
We definitely are.
Whatever happened to that global warming thing that Al Gore invented?
Apparently, no, that was the internet. He made the internet.
He did make the internet, but he also invented.
Did he also make global warming?
He also invented global warming. And it's been a shit show ever since.
Well, I mean, you take the good with the bad. I mean, the internet's been very helpful. It's been very helpful.
Yeah, helpful. It's also been a little bit more of our downfall, too.
Well, it's ticking and talking, so.
Sure is.
So I don't know.
All over the grams.
Although this podcast is on the internet, so.
We can't knock it too much.
Yeah, we kind of need it in order to do what we're doing. So,
the podcast or the internets?
Well, I guess kind of both. But I don't know. We don't have that many subscribers. Hint, hint. So maybe people could subscribe.
I don't remember exactly what it was, but I was on one of the platforms the other day, or maybe it was Netflix or something, but I was like trying to find something to watch or, scrolling scroll to see some information, and I literally got a notice that said, "We are sorry, but we don't have anything else to match your search criteria." And I'm like, I did it. I reached the end of the fucking internet.
You finished the internet.
Yeah. It only took 30 years, but I did it.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite commercials. So it was a Comcast commercial. The internet was so fast. It's like, you finished the internet. It's so awesome. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of some other Dark Lord shit.
Yeah, I've still got probably 3 bottles of Dark Lord downstairs in my cellar. I did open up that last batch of Dark Lord that I got. I guess it was probably the ones you brought back for me last time, which was probably kind of right there post-COVID. Like kind of right there, 21, 20. I don't know when you went last, but it was.
Oh, and those were the new fully printed bottles.
fully printed bottles. I think it's actually a wrap or I don't think it's printed. Well, I guess it's like some sort of a shrink wrap around the bottle. I feel like.
No, so it is actually printed.
Is it printed on the bottle?
There's a shrink wrap protective layer that you can take off. So they have that on there for transportation and like selling. So when you get it home, you can take it off.
And I remember I opened one of those fresh, and that was definitely got that soy saucy kind of flavor. I definitely got it. Like that was the only time that I think I ever really got it was when I opened it fresh. And I haven't opened another one since then. I would think that was the only time I ever because I'd never had one fresh before.
Right.
So I did. I opened it. It was probably a week old, 2 weeks old when I opened it. The freshest Dark Lord I ever had in my life, because otherwise they'd all been very old. Right. You know, like it probably even almost a decade old.
That's when it's the best.
That's what I mean. Like, so I'd had them older before, and I'd heard all these people talk about how they have this flavor and that flavor or whatever. And so I was like, yeah, I'm just going to open a brand new one, see what this tastes like. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, there's the soy sauce.
Did you solo dome it?
No, I didn't. No, I did split it. I actually had it with my brother, but it wasn't my favorite. And so, like you said, I do believe it's probably better with a few years on it and let that kind of mellow out a little bit.
Beer in itself is an acquired taste, but like some beers are definitely an acquired taste.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if you have the potential to know that you can age that beer for a little bit, that kind of opens up a whole new category of wonder for you.
Yeah, it really does. You know, I think I've come to the realization, you know, over the past few years, and I think it's got a lot to do with Bourbon County and microphone. That I've realized that a lot of these like heavily adjuncted beers are really the ones I want to knock out first.
Yeah.
I really want to go ahead and drink through those because they're not going to get better. The barrel variants, I don't mind. I'll sit on those for a while. Like, I don't care. It's good. We'll let them sit for a minute and see how they go and all of that. Even the microphone barrel ones, I'm okay to sit on for a little bit, you know, for a while. But anything that's got heavy chocolates and berries and, you know, the orange and the, like, just let's get them out, start drinking them, you know, same with the coffee ones and stuff like that. Because I just feel like they're not going to get better. So just drink them now. Just get rid of them, you know, get through them now. But that's something kind of new. I didn't used to do that. I used to hold on. I used to hold on to them for a little bit. But now I'm kind of like, let's just enjoy them now. Speaking of adjuncts.
Yes.
What you got there?
So we, again, we're part of the Bruery Reserve Society. So we do have, ooh, that sounded nice.
It did. I won't say refreshing because I don't usually feel like brewery beers are refreshing when I drink them.
No, there's not really ever a time that I'm sitting there on a hot 90-degree day thinking a stout sounds super refreshing.
Especially a really sweet one.
Give me one with all of the twigs and berries. We're taking a look at Cluster Luck, which even though I kind of wanted to read what was on it, I just gave you the can, so you're going to have to read what's on the actual.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's Cluster Luck is beechwood and white oak fermented imperial stout with almonds, cacao nibs, vanilla, and sea salt. It's a 10.5.
Ooh, you can taste the beechwood.
Yeah, you can get a lot of beechwood with this one.
So beechwoody.
It's like it washed up on shore.
As a brewery that actually does adjuncts very, very well, I think we've actually acknowledged the fact that other than places like Bottle Logic,
Which is across the street.
to a certain extent, Bourbon County and Goose Island, when you're adding adjuncts to a beer, I feel like these guys can do it extremely well. It actually ends up being a little drier because of the wood. And
I would say because of the wood, probably, yeah.
it almost kind of has like a mocha flavor to it.
It does. It's a dry chocolate.
You could have it for breakfast.
The sea salt too. The salt probably plays into that a little bit too. It doesn't come across as super sweet.
It smells dry, has that dry cocoa, does have like a little bit of a woodiness to it, but it's like a sweeter wood.
Because it's cacao nibs, vanilla, sea salt, almonds, and then the wood. So
Almonds.
you really don't get a lot of sweetness necessarily. The vanilla is almost the sweetest thing in there.
Yeah, paired with the malts of the base beer, but there's really nothing else in there that's going to chalk up. I mean, actually, speaking of chalk, it actually kind of has a chalkiness to it.
Right. It tastes like almost like the powdered chocolate outside of like a truffle or something like that.
Yeah, like the dusting that you would have.
Yeah,
For sure.
it's great though. It's really good.
It definitely has a 10.5%.
It does have a thinner body for some of their stuff, but actually 10.5%'s not a super high percentage for them.
For them, no.
Right.
And it's kind of sad that when you're saying a 10.5% is not bad for a brewery beer, when you're thinking Black Tuesday being 20%.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, it even so happens it's Tuesday or something like that. That's more of a 14%, 15%, sometimes 12 to 14 in there. I feel like normally. So even at 10%, this one feels kind of low. This is like a session beer for them.
Yeah, that's how I like my session beers.
Yeah.
Like I said, drinking out on the lake.
Yeah.
Give me a 10.5% beer with all things in it.
Oh, that's great though. That's good. It's a nice treat. I did mention Facebook Marketplace and what a mess that is. If you ever try to sell anything on Facebook Marketplace, I'd recommend that you don't.
It's a weird, long, dark hallway where nobody seems to like really read.
It makes you appreciate what Craigslist was. And the reason that I say that is because people would literally go to Craigslist to buy something. They would go there to shop. They would go there to shop for weird stuff. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you were a very specific clientele, right? I mean, people go there to shop for escorts and like adult stuff and like
Body parts.
yeah, just weird stuff, right? Or car parts or, whatever, a couch or whatever. But they were there to look for something and buy it. The reason Facebook Marketplace is so weird is because you have the lowest quality traffic ever. It's literally somebody who is there to look at like whatever scrolled by on their Facebook feed and, oh, there's whatever you're selling. And it literally, because the prompts are all auto-generated, it's like it requires no effort on it. It's like literally all they have to do is move their thumb to send you a message. It's so low effort. You get like these people that just, and you're like, is this still available? Which is literally the default prompt.
Right.
It's like they literally just have to move their thumb like a fraction of an inch to send you a message. That's all the effort they just put into contacting you, right? It's like it couldn't be less effort to contact me and annoy me when you don't intend to buy anything from me.
Exactly.
Right?
Oh, yeah. It's because you're just scrolling and being like, oh, Heather had a cookout. Oh, yeah. Nick's baby's looking nice. Yeah. Oh, I could really go for that TV.
Right. So you end up getting, 15 messages in 5 minutes or whatever, and none of them intend to buy whatever it is you're selling. And then, most of them are lowballing you and they're offering you a quarter of what you actually listed this thing as.
Or they literally try to offer you a quarter.
Right. My favorite is, what's the lowest you'll take? For it has a price on it. that was obviously my intended taking value, plus a little bit of haggle, right? Obviously I'm intending that you're going to try and work with me on the price, but it has a price.
Hey, this is free. What's the lowest you'll take?
Exactly.
It's fucking free, dude.
Right, exactly. So that's my response. It has a price on it. Is that price okay for you? If not, would you like to go ahead and make your own offer? I don't know. The whole thing is just a mess, man. It's crazy. Anyway, what else we got to talk about today? Are we at the end of our rope today?
I think so.
So we have nothing else to say, I guess. But if you guys have ideas or can think of something you would like us to talk about, or can give us some feedback, or if there's a reason that you would like to subscribe or not subscribe, or like this video or have any other feedback for us, please leave it.
Stop doing it.
Just stop. We got to make content, before people will come and watch it. So we're making content. So come and watch it. Anyway, thanks for watching. And, hopefully we'll have a beer together sometime soon. So take care and thanks for watching.
We out.